Hello ladies and welcome back to Still Looking Good 58, the channel that reviews wigs for the mature woman. Today we're talking of course about headbands and the fact that I'm starting to make them, and so let me give you a little bit of background. The reason I decided to start making headbands was two or threefold actually. I know most of you guys know that I have been talking about sewing different things like braids in a scarf or braids in a hat and all kinds of things, and I've narrowed it down to headbands because number one, I really like making them. They don't take a whole lot of my time and I can change out the fabric so that I don't get bored. I also wanted to do headbands because I have had a hard time actually finding the type of headbands that I want. I've seen all kinds on Amazon, and some of the human hair companies have sent me some, and I've kind of come up with the type of headband that I'm looking for. Number one is I want a headband that's wide enough to cover my ear if I want to cover it, as well as my edges if I want to cover those. And people who maybe don't have a great forehead or they don't have great edges, they may want to cover them up. I also wanted to make sure that the material that the headband was made of did not mess up my edges, so no cotton. So I started searching for fabric that would be better for my edges, so more like polyesters, lycras, spandex, things that aren't going to be made out of cotton. And also I wanted to have headbands that had all kinds of different textures and colors and designs. I'm seeing a lot of things out there, but not exactly what I was looking for. So being a seamstress, I went on the hunt for fabrics, and I went to a couple of suppliers that I've usually gotten fabrics from for making apparel, and I've also found some new suppliers of fabric that I was looking for. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to offer you guys, as well as myself, some alternatives in headbands. And one of the other things is I've not seen a lot of solid headbands that I like, and so I also wanted to create some solids. So for those of you who don't know about me and my background in terms of sewing, let me just give you a little bit of background. I have been sewing clothes since I was 13. My sister, who passed away in 2009, my sister taught me how to sew my own clothes when I was 13. One of the first things that I made, and actually I found this pattern on Etsy and I couldn't believe it. This pattern is one of the first things that I made when I was 13. This is a Kenzo of Jap pattern, and this pattern was $1.25 back in 1970. This was the first pattern that I ever made. I made these pants, and I was excited about these pants because they were high-waisted. Now, if you know anything about the early 70s, we were wearing what we called peanut pants, which were pants that were like hip huggers with like one button, and they just rode really low, and that's what everybody was wearing. And when I saw this pattern, I thought, wow, these are high-waisted, and that's kind of new, so I'm gonna do that. And so this was the first pattern that I made. So then I went on to sew a lot of other things, and I'm just going to show you. I have actually again found these patterns online, and so I just took the covers of the patterns because I wanted to save them. This particular pattern is by a designer called Betsy Johnson, and this was the style that I also made back in the 70s. And one of my favorites that I made back in the 70s was this outfit by a designer called Willie Smith. Now, Willie Smith was one of the first black designers back in the 70s, and this outfit was inspired by the Pointer Sisters because back in the day we were all crazy about the Pointer Sisters. So we wanted to make outfits like this out of satin because satin was huge back in the early 70s. And so me and like 3 other girls at my school made these dresses, and we were walking around school with our dresses. Mine was red, one was pink, another girl made red, so we were just like really into that. So this was kind of our thing back in the 70s. So again, I just wanted to show you guys these because that was my sewing history, and I also wanted to show you a couple of outfits that I made that I still have. So I'm just going to get up and get those, so hold on. Okay, so in one of my periods where I thought I was going to sew for other people, I was thinking of making scrubs, and so I made this little scrubs outfit. And this little scrubs outfit that I made was for like people who worked in maternity, because the design here has little safety pins and things on it, and then on the back I had a little bow that I put on there, and I also made a matching scrub cap to go with it. But the problem with this was, even though I really enjoyed making these scrubs, the problem was, and it's got a really cute pocket, the problem with this was that you can get scrubs so cheap these days that it just didn't even make sense for me to go into that business. But I also made suits, and this is a suit that I made. This skirt actually, the pattern did not call for a lining, but I put a lining in it. And then, of course, this suit jacket was just a suit jacket that I made and lined. So I've made a lot of clothes. I even made my husband a shirt, and I'll put up a picture so that you can see the shirt that I made for my husband. He really liked it, and it was funny because when I made this shirt for him, he didn't think I knew how to sew. So I thought, okay, I'm going to show him. I do know how to sew, and here's something that I'm going to make for you so you can see. He was convinced after that. So anyway, that's sort of my background in terms of sewing, and I kind of wanted to share that with you guys that aren't familiar with me. So getting back to the headbands themselves, one of the things, as I mentioned to you before, was fabric. I wanted to make sure that I found the proper fabric to make a good headband. Now the headband that I have on now is made out of a polyester spandex, of course, but this particular material that I found is very soft, and I like that. And I found one that's even softer. And you'll see this headband on my website. This is like buttery soft material, and I really loved it when I found the vendor for this, and so I was glad to get that. And I'm also making headbands that are friendly for a larger head. Now this one's a little bit larger. I've got the same headband on my head, but this is for a medium, but this one is for a large. So you will see when you go to my site that I have some options for large as well as medium heads. So, and that's something that I have not been able to find for headbands like on the internet. So let me show you a couple of the different textures that I'm making, because I'm not only making like flat prints, but I'm making raised textures. Now this particular headband, this headband is a raised texture, and I've actually given my headbands names. So the headband that I have on now I'm calling Jungle Fever. And this particular headband here, that's this peach color, I'm calling this one Pretty in Peach, and this one has a raised texture. And you'll notice that I'm using the same design, this little twist in the front, and I'm starting with these because these are the most practical for me to make right now. I am going to come up with some other designs after we see how well these do. So this is one raised texture. Here's another one that has a raised texture as well. It's a little different raised texture, and I'm calling this one Fine as Wine. And one thing that I wanted to mention to you is when you go on my Etsy site, you may see that some of the headbands look a little lighter. So that's why I'm kind of showing you these now so that you can see the real colors. So again, this is a raised texture, and what I really like about this texture is that it's firm. You know, it's not going anywhere. And the other texture that I have is this one. I'm calling this one Moody Blue. And Moody Blue has a little bit of a different texture than the two that I just showed you. So all three of them have different textures. And another thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that with these headbands, when you're making a headband or anything else that you're sewing, when you get the material, it's just a big sheet. You know, it's just a big sheet. Just like if you go into Joann Fabrics and see material. It's just a big sheet, and what you have to do once you cut it out and you start shaping it is you have to do exactly that. You have to shape it and form it into what you want. So when I make these headbands, I have to really press them into the shape that I want, and as far as this twist goes, I have to like pull in the front. As soon as I sew it, I have to pull it in the front so that it can get comfortable with being in this particular format. So you're really manipulating the material by forcing it into the mold and the pattern that you want. So I like the fact that after I make these, I kind of let them rest so that they can get used to being in the shape that they are, because if they come in just one sheet of fabric, they're not used to being twisted and moved around. And that's one of the beauties of sewing, is that you can really manipulate the material. So I wanted to let you guys also know that I'm going to be coming up with different styles over the months and years, hopefully, if my site does well. I want to have like different moods, like I may do a color of the month mood, and have different types of headbands with the same color but maybe in different styles and prints. I may also do a seasonal mood where I'm showing you a whole lot of fall inspired headbands. So I'm going to be doing things like that because I really want to make it interesting, and I also want you guys to be able to find things that you're looking for that you may not find someplace else. And again, one of the other things that I did notice about the headbands that I've seen online is that there aren't that many solids. And that's why I created a group of solids, because I know that not everybody wants a print headband. So that's why I created these different solids, because I know that sometimes people just want a solid. They don't necessarily want a print. And some of the more popular prints that people are interested in, I've got those too. I've got this leopard print that I'm offering to people, as well as a tie-dye print, because this is different. Some people really like tie-dye, and that's what I'm doing. So now that I have this tie-dye in my hand, I want to just explain something to you guys. When I sew these headbands, no two are going to be exactly alike. For instance, you can look at these two and they're not exactly alike. They're from the same fabric, but they're not exactly alike. So when you get your headband, you're not going to get one that's exactly like one somebody else has, because again, I am making these individually by hand. Every single one of these headbands, I have cut the thread, and I have formed it, and I have shaped it with my little hands myself. So yeah, every one of these is individually handcrafted, so they're not like on some assembly line. I'm actually creating these headbands for you. So let me just let you know what the store name is. It is etsy.com/shop/SLG58. Of course, still looking good. So it's SLG58, and again, the information will be down in the description section. When you buy your headband from me, you will get a little thank you card that has my logo, SLG, on it, and some information explaining to you that this is an individually handcrafted headband. So I just wanted to come to you guys and let you know that my store is up, and I'm very excited about it, and I hope that you guys can go online and find something that you like, something that you can use. And please, if you do like the headband, please go onto the Etsy site and leave a nice review for me. Let me know on my Still Looking Good YouTube page how you feel about the headbands, and if you have any ideas, prints, or anything that you're interested in. If I have enough people asking for a particular thing, I may be able to get that fabric from my vendor, and then I can create the headband for you guys. So thank you so much for all the support you guys have given me. I mean, over the years, you guys have been so great to me. You've been so supportive, not only coming to my channel, but like buying my wigs and everything. And I just wanted to come to you guys and thank you so much. I hope that when you see my headbands, that you find something that you really like and you put it in your cart and you come back again and again, because that would be really, really great. So thanks so much again for watching. If you have not subscribed, please hit that subscription button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my uploads. And as I always say, ladies, if you're going to show love to anyone today, please show it to the creator. I'm still looking good, and of course, so are you. See you next time.